Welcome back. Do remember, all our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to see us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, we also like to encourage you to visit our Eyewitness feature. You can use it to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. Now, here are some photos that you sent in to our Eyewitness portal, and we begin with this one, which shows a bent electricity pole like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. This is the leaning electricity pole along Langbasa Road in Ajah area of Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on relevant agencies to fix it. And this one is sent in from the Iyanokpaja area, also in Lagos. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on local council authorities to repair it. Similar to that is this photo, which shows the poor condition of this road. It's the Suleja Mina Road, and it's in Niger State. And finally, this is not a barn, but there are cows along the Shehu Shagari Road in the Federal Capital Territory. It's not a farm. The Eyewitness reporter is wondering when will this rising trend end. So it's something that is recurring, where cows and people are pedestrians on the same road. We'd like to thank you for bringing these pictures to us, and please keep them coming. Now to the oil and gas sector across the country. Not a fortnight ago, the roadmap for the development of Nigeria's oil and gas sector from 2015 to 2019 was unveiled in a document called the 7 Big Wins. And the document encompasses areas from the Niger Delta and security to policy and regulation, business environment drive, transparency and efficiency, stakeholder management and international coordination, gas revolution, refineries and production capacity. So important was this document's unveiling that the President was present there, as well as the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Ibe Kachuku. And to fill us in on the finer points of this document, we have our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, in the studio with us. Olu, it's good to have you on News Across Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Olumide. Thank you for having us.
The Minister of State, Ibe Kachuku, mentioned the petroleum industry bill. Let's start there. What portions are captured in this long-awaited petroleum industry bill that are inside this short-term and medium-term framework for the 7 big wins?
First of all, what to say or recognize in this 7-point agenda that has been documented as an oil policy roadmap or a policy roadmap document, executive document for revitalizing the sector, is to say that the PIB you talked about that has been lying on the floor of the National Assembly for years now has a new title, the Petroleum Industry and Governance Bill. So that aside, because that's a document that needs a lot of legislative teeth for it to become laws governing the sector. This is kind of like a policy guide, what the government intends to do that they don't necessarily need to submit to the National Assembly before they can get to do it. Now, so out of the 7 points or 7 quick big wins, like they said, you've mentioned some of them, governance issues, investment and all of that. I think 3 out of them are very critical, and talking about refineries, the gas revolution, and the Niger Delta. So it's clear that we need to streamline this to understand what this document is before we can go ahead. I don't know if
when you're talking about the Niger Delta and security, obviously that's the big issue that jumps right out at us. And as far as the 7 big wins is concerned, how are they going to articulate that into practical steps that will ensure that security? They're talking about security, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so the The security issues in the Niger Delta has brought us almost to a point where we can't even meet our OPEC quota. Our OPEC quota is quoted put at 2.3 million barrels per day. But what we are producing right now at the height of the vandalism that we saw in the Niger Delta is there was a time it came so badly to 1.1 million barrels a day, even in 2016.
Yes.
Now what that tells you is that there's insecurity. The IOCs, that's international oil companies, are not venturing into any new projects. Jobs are being lost, revenue is being lost. A lot of things are happening, and in that kind of environment, people can invest. When a white man sits out there and wants a place where he's taking his dollars to, he first of all asks risk managers, what's going on in this environment where I'm taking my monies to? So security is very critical. And what government has said they will do is to deploy massive infrastructure. Like the question to ask about massive infrastructure is, there's a system that we are used to, and that's the system of patronage. The system of thinking, if we want to develop this place, we have to call these people and ask them what they want and what they don't want and all of that. But the truth again is, if you deploy massively, for instance, the kind of roads you have in Abuja and deploy them in Niger Delta, you don't need anybody to consult to do that.
But what is the grouse of the militant groups who again recently another bomb blast?
Deployable state of that region. That region absolutely is in a deployable state. You know, some places like Ogoni where the water cannot be used, the water is oily. They cannot go back to fishing because their water has been corroded with crude and all of that, polluted air and all of that. So that region needs a total rehab and a revamping in terms of infrastructural deployment. And we need to get that going almost immediately.
This has the blessing of the president, obviously.
It does, because he's supposed to be meeting with some of the elders from that community sometime this week or early next week.
In other words, we can take it for granted that all these points there'll be success in meeting all these objectives.
I honestly, I do hope that this document won't end up for the photos or for the cameras, like I said earlier, because if we can't remember, mind you, bear in mind that this is short and medium term solution. There isn't any long-term solution embedded in this.
So it has to start going immediately.
It has to start almost immediately. It has to just start.
What does the Minister of State for Petroleum need to get to galvanize the movement?
I don't expect a situation where they'll begin to set up committees and all of that. That for me wouldn't work. Now, so just move in, do what you need to do, set up governance structure. You don't need committees to be transparent in doing business. In terms of doing business, for instance, Nigeria has a contractual cycle of about 2 to 3 years. Rwanda just came out of the war, and in terms of countries where you have ease of doing business, Rwanda is about 32. Nigeria is about 169 on that table. It means doing business in Nigeria is difficult, and therefore it's clearly a case of transparency.
Finally, $5 billion was mentioned by the Minister of State as what he would raise for this government. Is it through this big win, and then $20 billion in the medium term?
All of this can be ramped up if you put all together. For instance, the refineries are down. Now, so there's a scale up, or there's an intention to get to reduce importation of finished product by 2018 to about 60%. And we are hoping that by 2019, we will now be an exporter of finished product. So if you start now, by 2019, your refineries will be exporting finished product.
Thus you can make that money that he's talking about for making fun.
Because
Phillips.
Oh my goodness.
I know, we got you going. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Thank you so much, Olu Phillips, our energy correspondent, filling us in on the 7 big wins of the oil and gas sector of the Buhari administration. Coming up, news across Nigeria, polio in Nasarawa State. Don't go away.